Welcome to the biggest clean tech event in Australasia. Welcome to Everything Electric 2025. We're going to start off with something a little special. This is Andrew from Zeekr. Okay, what are we in?
We're in the Zeekr X, compact luxury SUV, the first right-hand drive in Australia from Zeekr.
Okay, so right-hand drive, it's in Australia. You know the next question for the New Zealand market, when's it coming? Is it coming?
Very soon, very soon. Sorry Kiwis, it's coming really soon. We're just crossing the T's, dotting the I's with the right partner.
Okay.
And will be announced very soon.
I want to talk about the interior. One thing I love about what Chinese manufacturers are doing is they're being playful. It's like Japanese manufacturers in the 70s and 80s, but they're bringing it back. Burgundy. What's the official name of this color?
It's called Mulberry and Rose. Mulberry is this, and Rose is that. And then we've got also the emerald blue and white and charcoal gray and black. So basically, as I said, this is the first right-hand drive, and following soon is our 009 luxury people mover.
I mean, that's good, but I think what's more important is the fact you've got flocked pillars.
We do.
Flocked pillars.
We do.
When I come to power, this will be mandatory. Okay, maybe don't vote for me just yet. But yeah, the next scene you'll see will have me behind the wheel of this car, actually driving it on Aussie roads. See you then. Fast forward to the driving scene, and this is it. This is the Zeekr X that I'm going to be taking for a little blast around Sydney's side streets. And as you can see, Everything Electric has no shortage of driver experiences going on here, but this is the car I want to see. The Zeekr X, which, as we've found out, is coming to New Zealand. At the time of recording this, just a couple of signatures away from this thing appearing on New Zealand showroom floors. Pretty exciting. But what's it like to drive? Well, I'm going to grab one of the Zeekr team, go for a drive, and find out. And this is it. Welcome to the Zeekr X. This is Eden, and we're going to take this for a drive around Sydney streets. Let me just adjust my seat a bit, which, as you can see, is electronic. What's it like to drive, though? So, steering wheel's Cortic. That's odd. A Cortic steering wheel. As the owner of an Austin Allegro, this is my bag, baby. This is a good test. How easy is it to adjust the steering wheel? Okay, so...
I'm not going to talk.
Okay, let me figure this out. Okay, so connect driving. It's got to be right near the top. Doors and windows, maybe. It's under there.
Can I interrupt? I'm laughing on the inside.
No, because you know it's somewhere right in front of me,
on the inside.
I think there's a button right here for it.
Yeah.
Okay, I might need help after all.
You got an Austin, right?
Austin Allegro.
How do you adjust the steering wheel in that?
You don't.
You don't? Well, I thought I was on something there.
Do you know what an Austin Allegro is?
No, is it older? It's probably older than me.
It's about 50 years old. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Reach underneath the wheel.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
oh,
I told you I was laughing on the inside.
See, here I was thinking it was going to do something annoying like a Tesla, but no, it's normal. Oh, I like that. This is one thing I noticed already before we've even driven it. It's got stalks, regular stalks, and a manual adjustment. I like that. Okay, enough babble. Drop it into drive. It's quiet.
We're good to go. No ignition. You just get in and start up.
Oh, what was that?
Fantastic. So that's just it getting up, I guess. I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, that's one thing, Zeekr. As for all car makers watching this, if you're going to give me an alert chime, put a message on the screen to tell me what it means. Because cars are so busy these days with so many alerts. They're so smart. They're watching everything. You can say, bing. I don't know what that means. I don't speak Bing. I'm not from Microsoft. All right. I see it. Okay, so it's got cross-traffic alert.
That's probably a good indication of what the cameras look like. We can go into probably better detail with that when we park, because I think that's going to switch off after...
Once we get up to speed,
Once we get up to 30, that'll switch off.
We'll run through some tech specs. This is rear-wheel drive?
So you're in the all-wheel drive variant.
Okay, right.
So this X comes in the rear-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive, as we were mentioning earlier. With options, you don't have too much in the way of options, I guess. So with you're in basically the top of the range model, what we're sitting in minus the fridge in the center console.
What?
So if you had the fridge option in here, you would be in the top of the range X. So the other options as well is that Yamaha sound system and the heads-up display. I think heating and cooled seats are an option, and I think that's basically it. So you got the rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and then those 3 or 4 different options, plus all your colors, your interior colors, exterior colors, which is a fair few to choose from, and that's it.
Okay, what about battery capacity?
Battery capacity in this particular one is the 400 volt 66 kilowatt battery.
Okay.
The range on this particular model is 480 kilometers, I believe.
That's WLTP.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. The rear wheel drive, you got a little bit more range because you're only powering one motor in the back rather than the two.
Yep.
So I think you get about 540 kilometers worth of range in the rear wheel drive. But in the all wheel drive, you get the acceleration. That 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds is
Okay, speaking of which, I'm just going to put my foot down without breaking the law.
Give me a second. I'll quickly pop you into sport mode. That way we've probably got a bit of...
All right. There's no one behind me. Sorry, Mr. Officer, if you're watching this. Hold on. Bugger me. Gee, I did not expect that because I put my foot down a little earlier on. And I was like, okay, that's a nice surge. That's sharp.
Yeah,
Far
sharp.
out.
So when you're in sport mode, that's a bit of a talking point in this one.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. Another thing I really like about this car, and this is just superficial because I only got this thing for 10 minutes, is the interior. I love the colouring of the interior. Like the other one was a sort of more burgundy colour.
Yep.
This is more of a white. Now I know there were people watching this saying, oh, if you've got kids, this is a terrible idea. Well, train your kids because this is beautiful. That and the blue. I love this 80s Honda Prelude blue. And this cream, this Bentley-like cream, I like this combo, man. This is one thing I love about what Chinese makers are doing. They're doing things that Western makers did in the 70s and 80s. They're being playful and experimental. They're not encumbered by 20 years of legacy and history. They can do what they want. And this is the product of that. So it's got self-parking as well?
Yeah, that's right as well. That's right. So you go through this page, select what parking, so it says parallel and conventional, car space that you can choose that it will identify. And
all right, I'm going to move into the left-hand lane. I'm just going to, there's no one behind me. I'm just going to let the car roll to a stop using the regen braking, just see how it is. Okay, so I would say this is similar to a Tesla Model 3, but what's it like at the last minute? I think maybe the Tesla Model 3 and the Model Y has slightly more regen strength. This is a little more gentle until you put your foot down in sport mode. So if you're after stronger regen, even at its maximum, I think the Tesla's still got a bit more oomph. But this is perfectly acceptable for, this is okay for stop-start traffic. This is okay. I'd like it a little stronger if I had the option. So Zeekr engineers watching, maybe give me a super mode. Still, it's miles ahead of BYD in terms of regen.
yeah, and the other thing, I don't know if you want to show, it's the camera as well, so you can
Oh wow!
video and record.
Does it have? Oh, so it's got a built-in dash cam.
Yeah, that's right.
That is interesting. That's interesting. And I see 360-degree.
That's right.
camera
So you got your
system as well.
360, you got your top down, you got your front, left, rear, right, and then obviously your 3D render.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, there you go.
Notice down here, are we going straight?
We can go straight. Yeah.
Oh. It's like, well, if we, were we supposed to go left?
Yeah,
here?
that's all right.
Okay, all right.
Right.
One thing that's interesting is down here, I mean, you've got your USB charging and all that. You've got this little elasticated holder there for magazines or potatoes or whatever. But you've also got this little button right here, which I thought it was like a cigarette lighter, but it's a little bag holder.
That's right.
That's different. I like it when things are different. The road feel is more comfort than handling, at least on city street. But, well, hang on, no, we just went over a bump there, and it felt solid. But it lures you into a false sense of comfort. You might think, well, this is going to be a sponge on the corners, but no, if you just bear with me for a second, I'm going to do something silly. Oh, see, now it's quite soft and comfortable. It doesn't wallow too much, and guys behind us probably think we've lost our mind. Oh, this is a car that needs much more investigation. I'm intrigued by the Zeekr X. I'm intrigued. Okay, so on that note, stay tuned, hit the like and subscribe button. I will do a full review of this car when we get it in New Zealand, which, as we've found out, is happening very soon. Now, this is Ed, and this is a Toyota that's been converted to electric. And it seems like you've done something Toyota doesn't want to do. So what is it?
Quite interesting. So we can pretty much convert any vehicle to electric from old classic cars, which you'll probably see around the place, like Beetles and MGs that we do. Here we've stepped it up into a modern, brand new four-wheel drive. So this is a 2024 Toyota Landcruiser. We took out the V8.
Oh, that's going to upset people.
Well, it will, yes. But the thing that always gets them is it's got 3 times more power than a V8 diesel. So, V8 diesel's got about 580 newton meters of torque. We've now stepped it up to 1,700 as electric.
Okay, why would you do a conversion?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So, the way we see it, it's always about doing performance upgrades as you would do, all through time for the last 100 years you've been doing engine upgrades. Doing EV is now the easiest way of doing that. So, we've seen a big uptake in EV conversions in the US and Europe, and we're expecting the same to come through Australia. The other reason you do it is when your engine fails, as it always does. You know, vehicles last for 20, 30, 40 years. When you do an engine rebuild, instead of doing it as an ICE motor now, we're saying to convert it to electric at that time. So we're not going to compete with the brand new cars. If you're going down to the shops in an EV, you still want to buy one of the new ones. But something like this is unique. And yes, there's a lot of applications that EV conversions fit really well.
Okay, let's get a little technical and impress the nerds right now. So let's talk tech specs. What's under the hood? What's in this box?
Yeah, so we've got electric motors from the US that we can put that straight into the transfer box. So you've still got high-low range four-wheel drive. In the front, that then leaves space to put the battery box at the front.
So this is part of the battery system in here?
Yeah, so we got 160 kilowatts of NMC batteries, so we only use new components, new batteries. So we got part of the batteries in here, we've got the other part of the batteries in the back chassis.
Where are they?
Yeah. So as we move along, maybe stop it off.
Oh yeah, I can see the mirror underneath showing us that's the transfer box.
So we've got the brand new Cascadia motor that fits into a direct drive system into the transfer box. So you've got high-low range four-wheel drive. That basically takes up the space of the original manual gearbox.
Right.
So that then leaves all the engine
all that room
bay
for batteries.
Okay. And all the other little components. We've then at the rear got a full battery system under the tray.
Oh, I see. Okay, under here.
We've also got some of the control units inside the case as well. So if you're going four-wheel driving, which this is fully capable four-wheel drive, everything's sealed out of the way. There's nothing hanging down under the chassis. There's no motors on the axle like some of the others. All the driveline is Toyota, which means that you can get parts everywhere. Everyone knows how to deal with the Toyota. The only difference is now that we've got the electric motor under there.
Okay, now specs. We've got 160 kilowatt hours of battery capacity. How much range does it give you in this fairly unaerodynamic car?
Well, so it obviously depends how you drive, but we're looking about 500 to 600 kilometre range.
That's a lot.
Yes, it's 160 kilowatts, so it's basically the amount of batteries you get in two long-range Teslas.
And what's this? You've got mains power right on the outside.
Yeah, so we've got two 40-volt outlets on both sides. We've got a fast Type 2 charger at the rear as well, so we can charge up as you're driving along. But what we do, because we build all the conversion kits ourselves in Australia, and we export around the world as well, so New Zealand, we basically build a kit for whatever you want. So then you just simply bolt it in. So we basically build a kit for whatever you want. So depending on the performance, the range, the type of car you want, if you want any extras like the 240-volt outlets, if you want vehicle to grid, vehicle to load, we can build that into the kit. We box that up and then we simply export it to where you are. And if you're a restorer, you know, we get a lot of guys who are starting conversion companies. We help and supply you with those kits.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So make it simple for you.
So what's the acceleration like? You've got 160 kilowatt hours. Yeah. It must weigh more than a ton, surely. Yeah, what's the weight?
It's pretty much like similar sort of performance to a standard Tesla. So I've got a Tesla Model Y at home for my everyday drive. It's similar to that, very simple to drive. Put your foot on the accelerator and she takes off. Pull your foot off and your regen braking slows you down. And we can do adjustable regen as well.
Okay.
So if you want it hard or soft.
You haven't answered the question about weight though.
Yeah, so
how heavy is it?
The base kits are about the same weight as a standard Landcruiser. This one is 3.2 tonne.
Oh, that's not so bad.
No.
It's the same as a G-Wagon, same as a Cybertruck.
Yeah, exactly. So the beauty about a Landcruiser is that we can upgrade the suspension to get a GVM upgrade. So we've updated.
Oh, okay.
So we've upgraded the suspension. Okay. So we've still got a 1 tonne towing capacity on the rear, and then we've got a 3.5 tonne towing capacity as well.
Okay, all right. So,
you won't get anything else like this on the market.
No, well, that's just it. And which brings me to the next question. You know the question's coming. Yeah, go on. How much?
Prices. It depends on really what you want.
I mean, this is bespoke. When we know bespoke costs money, right?
So the best way of describing all of our conversion kits is similar to doing a performance engine upgrade. So people have been putting Porsche motors in the back of Beetles. Yeah, they've been putting big V8 Hemi motors in Land Cruisers. Yeah, so our pricing similar sort of price to a performance upgrade. Really, it depends on range. So this is top of the range.
Right.
You know, if you don't need 600, pull it back to what you really need. Okay. And a lot of our commercial fleet customers would actually work on that. So we'd look at the fleet specs. Yeah, they'll say we want 500 kilometre range because that's how much I get of my diesel, but I only fill it up once a week. So the way we look at it, it's more like, you know, you plug your phone in every day, you plug your laptop in every day, so we look at really what's the range you actually need. that's what we spec the kits for, and obviously that pulls down the weight, the price. Yeah.
Now, you can't speak on behalf of Toyota, but you must have your own opinions. Why aren't they building something this good? They've got the technology.
I know, it's probably the same question you'd say, why are you not putting a V8 in the new Landcruiser Prado? I say, I don't know.
Well, because it's 2025.
Or actually, in Australia, I don't know about New Zealand, but they're not putting a V8 motor in the Landcruiser anymore. So if you want a Landcruiser, you've gone down to a 4-cylinder, which you'd probably say is just as sacrilege as putting an electric motor in it. At least with our electric motor, it's more power and more
you're going to leave
than the V8.
Everyone in the dust.
Yeah.
I'm impressed, man. I can't wait to see more of these. Please keep it up.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to it.
That is a very, very impressive EV conversion, but something I want to show you which is just as interesting is something I've only seen for the first time with my own eyes today. It's that, and it's called Deepal. This is Matt, and this is a Deepal S07. What is it? Give me some basic specs on this fairly good-looking electric family car.
So this is a medium-sized SUV. Competes with your Tesla in terms of size.
Okay.
We are looking at a medium size, again, 475 kilometers of range. That's where we're sitting. One thing we like to push out there a lot is we like to make sure that the range that we say is exactly what you can get. So real world, 475 is achievable.
Okay. What sort of battery size does it have?
79.9, so 80 kilowatt hour.
Is that LFP chemistry or is that NMC?
Ternary lithium, NMC.
NMC? Okay, all right. What charging speed? We're going to have a look on the inside in a sec. Stay with us. What sort of charging speed have you got?
So AC we've got 11 and DC we're at 92.
92 kilowatts. Yeah. Okay. I guess we're at the back. We might as well start at the back. Can we? How do we open it up?
Just here. Power tailgate.
Okay. So I'm not going to bother asking you about price yet because that's yet to be confirmed. Same goes with coming to the New Zealand market. Yet to be confirmed. Stay tuned. Holy cow, that is a big boot. How many litres is that? I'm going to test your knowledge now. How many?
445.
Oh, okay. So he does know his stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you've seen any of the rubbish videos that I churn out, but would you mind if I just leapt in the back quickly?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, good. This is the Mafia test. So bear with me. Oh God! Break the brand new car. Sorry, General Manager holding the camera. It works.
I reckon you can fit two bodies in the back.
Yeah, I think you could definitely fit two pasty people like me in the back. Yeah. All right. So in the back, it looks relatively spacious. I'm going to cheat just for a sec. Let's see how much legroom there is. Holy far out, look at that. Actually, that is a lot of legroom.
So we've got a rear control pad there. That control pad controls your aircon speed, your aircon temperature, turning it off and on. You've also got your electric sunshade adjustment, and you can control the position of the front passenger seat as well.
What have we got on the inside here? What gadgetry have we got here?
So we've got a 15.6 inch sunflower tilt.
Sunflower tilt? What is
so
that?
Sunflower, the term sunflower, the sunflower itself will always face towards the sun.
Aha, okay, right.
So in this instance, the driver is the sun, so that's why the screen will tilt to you.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Look at that. Oh, well, you are now officially a sunflower. There you go. All right. I've been called worse. Okay, so we've got sunflower tilt. That I've never seen before, and I do love stuff that I've never seen before. What sort of sound system? What sort of...
So we've got a 14-speaker sound system with Sony speakers.
Okay.
Absolute banging stereo system, if I might say so myself.
All right, I will try that eventually one day, I'm sure. I see we've got heads-up display, but it's otherwise a centrally mounted display.
No, so we've only got infotainment and an augmented reality heads-up display. So a lot of people believe that an instrument cluster is the way to go. Perfectly fine with that, but when they sit in the car and they experience the head unit, it's completely different. All your necessary information is all shown on that heads-up display. Your range, your speed, your gear, the traffic around you.
Oh, so that replaces the instrument cluster?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And then when you're using adaptive cruise control or intelligent cruise control, there's actually a blue arrow that follows the car in front of you, and it shows you, tracks it from left to right and how far distance it is as well.
All right, one last quick. Oh, I see. Oh, far out. I just want to come and check out the fartment or front compartment. That is monstrous.
So one of the biggest spaces in the vehicle is the front.
Yeah.
Compared to a traditional ICE vehicle, you don't expect space to be here, but 125 litres.
That's pretty chunky. Okay.
Don't get me wrong, your weekend shopping.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so we can't confirm price, we can't confirm whether or not it's going to be in New Zealand.
Yeah, Australia we've confirmed price for this one, New Zealand nothing.
All right, what's the Aussie price?
For MLP, 53.9, drive away, you're about 58-ish for New South Wales.
Okay. Kiwi viewers, you can do the math and add on some Kiwi tax and Kiwi fees, and that's, if it does make it to New Zealand, that's not bad for what I've seen immediately. But there's something else I want to show you, that we know less about pricing and whether it'll make it to New Zealand, but you're going to want to see it. It's this thing here, that imagine a Tesla Cybertruck, but not ugly, and actually fascinating and curvaceous. What is it?
So this is the brand new Deepal E07.
Okay. So it's, first of all, immediately, this is a ute, right? Technically, although it doesn't look it with the cover closed.
Yep.
How many litres is this front compartment?
131.
So even bigger.
Yep.
Far out. You can go swimming in this thing.
You know, you can line it with put ice in there, put your drinks in
Yeah,
there, go
yeah.
for the weekend.
Okay, let's make our way back, and we'll come down here. There's fewer people down this side. It's very busy. Oh, far out. Look at that interior, man. Okay, now if you've been watching the content that I churn out, you'll know that I'm tired of black and grey dashboards. Chinese manufacturers are having fun. This is the result. Yeah, you may not like it, but you can't deny it's different. It's like sitting in pudding. I mean, who doesn't want to be greeted with that every morning? Okay, many people, but I love that. Okay, so tell me about the specs in terms of infotainment. We'll do backwards from what we did with the other car.
Infotainment on the E07 is 15.4 inch sunflower. So same thing again.
Okay.
It will tilt to the driver or the passenger, but the way it tilts is weight dependent. So if the driver gets in and the car senses there's a person there, it will tilt to the driver. If the driver gets out and the passenger gets in, again weight, and the infotainment screen will tilt towards the passenger.
Okay, now I want to move on to the piece of resistance, which is the fact that it doesn't look like it, but this is a ute. How does it work? It doesn't look like a ute. It looks like a sort of sleek station wagon.
Correct. So it's an SUV with a bit of a crossover between a ute. So
Okay.
there's a button right here.
Okay.
Click that. Glass
Okay.
comes down.
Glass
and
comes
then
down.
the
Listen.
roof slides up slightly. Right. So what happens
is
here
surreal.
is there's enough space in here
Yep.
to put your shopping inside to access it enough.
Yep.
Should you want to open it, 4 buttons here. This will open the tailgate.
Okay.
So if I press that, tailgate drops down.
Sorry.
You can sit here on the weekend, enjoy the sunset, do whatever you need to do. And then if I push this up, the glass roof goes up even more.
Okay, so you've got mains power built in as well.
Correct.
Do you know if that will work when the vehicle's running? That's a test question for you. Okay. We'll find out one day.
Yeah.
Okay, is that a subwoofer?
Yes.
But what's the point when this is a sealed compartment?
So that's where it comes in. So this glass partition wall,
Yeah.
that partition wall can go up and can come down.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So if
Far out. I've never seen anything like this, man. Oh, there's more storage under there as well.
Yep.
I mean, if you've seen the videos that I do, you know that I like weird and wacky stuff, and I mean, come on. That's surreal.
So these guys are putting down the seat. I can actually show you right now.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I'm going to jump in the back.
Okay. Will it take my weight?
Yeah, are you 300 kilos?
Not yet. Okay. Go on.
I'm about 90.
Oh, yeah, no, that feels all right.
You'd fit a third.
Oh, check that out. Far out. I have never seen anything like this, man. I thought I'd seen it all. Far out. Okay, well, okay. Yeah, I've sort of lost for words, which doesn't work on video. That was something else. Something I've never seen before. However, there's more. The Tesla Cybertruck is here. Now, I did a video very recently where I painfully honestly went through some reasons why we will likely never ever see this vehicle registered or available to buy in New Zealand in right-hand drive. However, there is another car which has just been unveiled. It is the Tesla Model Y, the refresh, the Juniper, and it's right behind me.
Here we go.
You join me in the Model Y refresh, the new Model Y. This is Richard from Tesla. What's new? Tell me what's new about this machine.
Well, Gavin, to start with, we've refreshed the interior. So we've got new materials on the dashboard, for example. So you can see the new blade dashboard, new materials on dash. And we've got this beautiful contour light going around, which is, you can change the colours to whatever suits your preference at the time. John, you got a question?
Yeah. My back is nice and cool. It's a warm day inside here, but my back is nice and cool. So obviously we've got ventilated seats.
You beat me to it. We've got ventilated seats.
Right.
Yeah, and they're also slightly more plush than they were in the current Model Y. We've retained the indicator stalk from customer feedback.
Right, good.
I drive both, and I like both. But customer feedback, we've reintroduced the indicator stalk, and we've also refreshed the center console in a similar way that we have with the Model 3. On the exterior of the car, we've got a few changes, but whilst we're in here, the cabin's nice and quiet. We've improved the insulation on the glass as well. So at the rear, we have insulation glass as well as at the front. The tyres and wheel package has been quietened down, and the suspension as well has been improved. So we've got a better handling and
sounds good, because the Model 3 refresh is night and day, but the ride is just sublime. So I can't wait to get my hands on this thing when we get our chance. Okay, what about the exterior?
Immediately you can see the light bar running across. We've taken that cue from the Cybertruck and Cybercab.
That is a big difference.
Here. So the headlight beam comes out from lower on the car.
Aha!
The split has been improved as well, and we have indicators built into the headlights up here.
I see.
Into the light bar up here.
Okay.
The contours have been changed a little bit.
It is much less sort of bar of soapy to the previous design. It's much more forthright.
So we just redesigned the front a little bit. It's a little bit wider. Moved the washer bottle filler to the front for convenience.
Right.
Importantly, we also have these gas struts at the rear for, in the event of a pedestrian collision, actually lifts the back of the bonnet.
Oh, softens.
Don't want to use the word cushion,
but
it helps
gives
with
movement to absorb impact. Right.
Dead.
Right. Is this enlarged?
Yes, it's slightly wider. And also we've got importantly, because you might want to put ice in here.
Aha, look at that.
Some lemonade or something.
Okay.
So that's a drain if you want to just give that a swish out. We're really proud of the new light bar across the rear.
Right.
So you never really see the light straight on. If you look at my hand, the light's actually up here. And now the light is reflecting off this panel. And it's also going to illuminate the road. And I can't wait to see it at night.
Right.
It's going to illuminate the road slightly and really make this distinctive.
Is there any change in drivetrain, or it's the same drivetrain underneath?
Drivetrain has been enhanced for efficiency.
Right.
So the power output is commensurate, but we've got a slight increase in efficiency from the whole drivetrain. Also, the rolling resistance from the tyres and wheel package has been improved, and the aerodynamics as well.
How do they get
increase the range?
It was already very efficient. How have they managed to squeeze any more out of it?
Well, the drivetrain and from the rolling resistance and the aerodynamics as well. So they've all improved, and they've all given us a slightly longer range.
Interesting.
Going into the back here, this is slightly smoother. We've now got dual struts on the rear tailgate.
Aha, I see.
And I'll just show you, we now have a one-touch power down on the seats. I don't know if you're familiar with the old, the current Model Y.
Yeah,
the seats fold down flat, and then you have to go and pick them back
right.
up again.
Oh, are you serious?
And now I can just
Oh,
press
look
the
at
button,
that's cheating. Come on.
Also, we've got this has always been magnetic, but now we have under here. You can see these cutouts. There's a stow for the rear passenger
that's
shelf.
brilliant.
And
Okay,
also
that's
plenty of
smart.
room in here. This is plenty deep. There's a bottle of Coke in there.
I mean, the Model Y has always been a space king.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
The headrest is slightly wider than the current Model Y, and the seat squab is slightly deeper as well, just to make the rear seat a little bit more comfortable.
I managed to squeeze a few seconds with Tom, the country director for Tesla, and I just want to ask mostly about deliveries. There are people who have put reservations down in New Zealand for this car.
Absolutely.
When can they expect to see the cars arrive?
First cars will be arriving for delivery in May.
May.
We will very soon have some showroom cars and test drive cars just ahead of our first customer deliveries.
Do you know how many are in the first shipment?
Not something that I can discuss.
Oh, damn, I thought I was going to get some exclusive there, but okay, all right. So all we can get out of you right now, May. It's May. Stay tuned. Interesting changes on the new Tesla Model Y. Deliveries in May, supposedly, but I want to turn this to Kiwi Corner. Behind me is FTN Motion, a New Zealand maker of electric motorcycles and mopeds. And when you hear moped, I know you're thinking boring and lame. Not this. Come check it out. This is Kendall, and that is an FTN Motion Streetdog right behind, if I crane my neck. Okay, tell me, first of all, what is this? The Streetdog 80?
This is the Streetdog 80, the ultimate urban commuter. So top speed of about 85 k's an hour, range of 80 to 90 kilometres in the city, 30 litres of storage, and
That's a lot of storage for a bike. Now I know that if you've been following my social media stuff, you know that I've actually already ridden the moped version of this. Now, when you hear moped, it's kind of a tragic image that appears in your mind, but it's only technically a moped. It is actually identical to that thing, but anyone with a car license can drive one. And I gotta say, driving that thing through Hamilton, I am so sold on the Streetdog. Not only because it looks cool, but also it's Kiwi made. Okay, now I'm not going to ask you to explain what FTN stands for the brand name, because then we have to beep things out. But where'd the inspiration come for this design?
The inspiration mainly came from just liking the look of old bikes, the nostalgia, the timeless design.
I hear you. Yeah.
And also fitting in the practicality. So that shape allowed to have a lot of storage and also look good. So.
I don't know if you're allowed to say this. How's business going? Sales all right?
It's good, yeah. We've got pre-orders for Australia coming in, New Zealand 80 orders we're going to be starting to deliver.
Brilliant. Because the 80's only been unveiled for, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah. So that's good.
Okay, well, I'm not going to take any more of your time because it's chaos right here. Do check the link under this description, because there is a link to that video showing the Streetdog 50 riding around Hamilton. I had so much fun. Like, if you're a biker, I get it now. I totally understand why. I'm thinking about getting my bike license, just do not tell my mum. Another Kiwi favourite, we are at Evnex, a New Zealand-made, New Zealand-designed, New Zealand-built charging system. This is Tom. What is this?
This is our X22 charger, so it's a 3-phase charger. This one's been designed sort of for the commercial space, so it's quite a rugged design. It's got RFID access if you want to sort of control access to the charger.
This is more of a public use charger.
It can be used in public, but it's probably more often used in things like workplace charging or like a sort of private commercial kind of space.
There's a charger. I've got this in my own house. Let's move our way over to the E2 charger. I have one of these, this colour in fact, the sandy beige, because I identify as an octogenarian, so I went with beige. Now the E2 charger, it's brilliant. I know it's brilliant because I've got one. What makes this better than the cheap Chinese charger off AliExpress?
Yeah, great question. So obviously the fact that it's New Zealand designed and manufactured we think is fantastic. We use a lot of sustainable materials in the manufacture of it. So for example, it's like a bioplastic enclosure, so that's using a lot of waste material from paper and pulp industry. The charger, we've got absolutely incredible support based in New Zealand. We get amazing feedback from our people who ever have to call up our support team. You often end up on the phone to the designer of the charger. You might even end up on the phone to me if you call in at weekends. I do weekend support. It's got all the features that we think make a genuinely smart charger. So the table stakes from our perspective are home overload protection. So you make sure that you don't accidentally blow up your pole fuse when you're cooking your dinner and you've got the heat pump on a cold winter's evening.
I've done that once.
Done that once?
Yep.
Yeah, not surprised. We make sure that you can do solar diversion. So if you've got solar panels, we'll match the excess and put it straight into your car.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
That is brilliant. But solar diversion, when I first heard it, I didn't really understand what it meant. Solar diversion is sort of a weird word.
Okay.
If I can try and explain it in dumb English that I could understand, imagine your solar panels are only the sun goes and the clouds and the rain come and it's only generating maybe 1,500 watts. It'll just stop charging the car. Just until if I've got it right, so until the sun comes back out again and it goes back up, then the charging continues. So it won't take power from the grid to charge your car. That's the important part.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
And that saves you money and keeps your charging a lot cleaner.
Yep. Okay, now
and then the other thing is the scheduling capability. So you can say, I've got free power for a couple of hours, so I'm going to charge flat tack out off the grid. Then I want to go solar diversion during the day, and then there's a period in the evening where I'm going to export and earn loads of money on the wholesale market, so I want it to stop charging. And you can set that all up in here.
It's also, I noticed when I had mine installed in the garage, it's also really slim. It is a tiny unit, and these are 7 or 11 kilowatts capable, right?
No, they're
just 7.
Just 7 these ones.
Okay, just 7. So these are mostly household units.
Yeah, single phase.
But the reason I want to point this out, because it's not only it's a good charger, and I'm heavily biased because I love my Evnex charger, but it's had a price cut.
Yeah.
How much is it now?
We've just launched the E2 Core, so we've got a launch price promotion until the end of March, where it's $999 to buy the hardware.
That's New Zealand dollars?
That's New Zealand
okay,
dollars,
that's the Pacific peso.
Dollars, depending on where you're at.
Okay.
And then there's also the E2 Plus, which still retains the 4G SIM and now comes with an 8-meter cable as standard.
Oh, really?
And that one is $12.99 under the promotional price.
Oh, I like the sound of an 8-meter cable. That sounds pretty good. Okay, I don't know if you're allowed to say this, but How are sales going? The market's in a bit of a slump right now.
Yeah, no, it's been a little bit of a challenge, but things are picking up pretty well. We've now got over 8,000 chargers installed across Australia and New Zealand. So that's about 6,000 New Zealand, 2,000 Australia, and things are growing pretty well. So yeah, we're pretty optimistic about where things are heading.
All right, take it from me. If you want a good charger, I've got one. They are good chargers. Kiwi's leading the charge there. Good job, Evnex. Next thing I want to show you is something special, something different. It is right behind me. Chinese manufacturer Xpeng not only have some cars I want to show you, but also a vertical takeoff electric aircraft. Here's something extra from Xpeng that I want to show you. It's special. It's interesting. It's the Mona M03. And you might be thinking that, well, it's just a generic looking car, but wait till you hear the price. In China alone, this is 120,000 yuan, which works out in New Zealand dollars to be about 28,900 or so for this, which is a very capable, large, well-appointed family car. Now, obviously, if this were to sell in New Zealand, you'd add an extra 10 grand or so on top. But even so, at under 40 grand, if this were to arrive in New Zealand, this makes pretty good value. Let me show you what I mean. For example, it has handles that present themselves as if the vehicle is in heat. It's not space age, but it is spacious. It's got everything you'd want, and I can't get over the price point of this car. As for range, well, it's got two different battery sizes. They claim it's going to have more than 500 k's on one charge. That's largely due to its stupidly low drag coefficient. This thing slices through the air. It's just like a bar of soap. Now, you might think that I'm getting overly excited, but the price. Sure, it's not the most well-appointed car in the world. It's not the most comfortable, but the price. If we were to get a version where the steering wheel is on the correct side, we might be able to see something like this sub 40. Maybe. I want to show you the boot as well. Now, this originally started off as a project between BYD and DD, and now it's owned by Xpeng, but it's still got the BYD battery in it. Actually, it's got two different battery sizes you can get. Both, I believe, LFP, 151 kilowatt hours, 162 kilowatt hours. But look at the size of the boot you get back here. Look how much suitcase storage you can put in there. I don't know, I think I can get away with doing the mafia test. Do they work for it? I think they work for Xpeng, I don't know. Don't tell anyone. No, don't push that button. Oh no, you absolute, don't, oh, you better let me out of this thing. But yeah, as you can see, mafia test, it passed with flying colours. And thanks to Mr. Richard Edwards holding the phone right now. Look at the room in the back though. It's not cavernous, but it's decent. Again, 28,000 New Zealand dollars, $29,000. Oh, the seats are soft as well. I mean, you've got USB charging, you've got vents. Legroom and headroom is mediocre, but as a family car, the price, I can't get over the price. Xpeng, please consider putting the steering wheel on the right side, exactly, and bringing this to New Zealand. This is what you've been waiting for. This is the Xpeng X2. It's a fully electric, vertical takeoff and landing drone that you sit in, and it's fully autonomous, and I got special permission, just me, to sit in it. Come on. First of all, I've got to mind my head, because as you'll notice, the door, whoops, the door does hang down low. First thing you notice is the whole thing's carbon fibre. Now, this is admittedly a demonstration model, but in Australia there is a model that does actually fly. This is mostly for, for garnering interest, and it's got my interest, that's for sure. So I'm going to very, very carefully climb in. Oh boy. Okay. The first thing I notice, there's no controls. This thing is fully autonomous. So what you do is you put in your address, your destination, into the center console, you press go, and it takes off and it lands there. Total flying time, it's limited to about 35 minutes, but it does have a little extra reserve. As for the battery, NMC chemistry, 40 kilowatt hours. Now 40 kilowatt hours, 15 years ago would have weighed a ton. But now technology's progressed so far that you can have a flying machine take you to work running on batteries. Clean, reliable transport that flies. 2025, man, it's wild. Inside, you've got some sort of aspects of being an aircraft. You've got these cool drop-down switches. It feels very Mission Impossible. Oh, no, I'm not going to touch that. Even though this is a demonstration model, I don't want to break it because it is worth more than me, let's be honest. I don't know, does this have air conditioning?
air conditioning? No, I don't
No.
believe so.
Okay, all right. So maybe the future products will have the air conditioning. Well, you could just open the window, of course, and leap out. That'll work. I'm trying to imagine this thing flying. I know that what's radical is that in my lifetime, I will see this sort of product available to the consumer to take you from work to home, going over all the traffic. And it just happens to be powered off electricity. 2025, man, what a time to be alive. There is one more car from Xpeng I want to show you, however, and it's this. It's the Xpeng G6, and this is one we are likely to see in New Zealand very soon. It's already available in Australia right now. New Zealand buyers, get ready. The G6, you probably figured out, could be a direct competitor to the Tesla Model Y in terms of shape, and not only shape, but style. And you probably noticed the back half, if I take you around the back, familiar car lovers will notice that back half does look familiar, doesn't it? Anyone noticed the Porsche resemblance? That's because a Porsche designer worked on this car, and it's noticeable. The size is interesting, very similar to a Tesla Model Y. The price, as for New Zealand buyers, don't know. Australia, however, it is tempting, considering how well appointed it is. Let me show you. First thing you'll notice as I get in is that the steering wheel is on the correct. Oh wow, those are comfy seats. Oh wow. Oh, the first feeling you get when you get in is well appointed. Look at the textiles. This is the first time I've sat in one, so this is real honest. That's suede-like. That is acrylic-like material. Softer on the dashboard. Everything is soft. That's slightly soft. That's vinyl wrapped. Very interesting. Very interesting. Dual phone charging with wires. The technology in this car supposedly is fantastic as well. It'll do more than just level 2 autonomous. It'll change lane. It'll do things like enhanced autopilot in Tesla. I can already hear the ventilated seats are working. Oh, this is going to give Tesla a run for their money, and the Tesla Model Y I just saw is good. I think it's really come of age. This, however, this has got something else. Maybe it's the screen, but it's got something else. When we see this in New Zealand, definitely going to take it for a ride. Definitely going to take it for a ride, because this is intriguing. That was cool, you have to agree, but I am running out of time on day one. Don't worry, I'm going to be back here tomorrow, Saturday, day 2. So much more to cover. This year is so much bigger than last year, and honestly, you can probably tell from all the videos you've seen so far that the mood, the vibe here, you can't put a price on it. It feels good. Everyone's loving clean tech. Everyone's loving cutting edge innovation. Everyone's loving battery powered everything. Basically, electrify everything, as you might assume. Okay, see you tomorrow. More to cover. One thing I want to show you next, however, is right behind me. The American giant, the Ford F150 Lightning. This one, however, has the steering wheel on the correct side. Somehow. Let's go check it out. This is Shane from Oz EV, and this is obviously the F150 Lightning. First of all, it's originally a left-hand drive car.
Correct. The vehicle is manufactured by Ford America, left-hand drive, imported into Australia, and then remanufactured to right-hand drive.
Why, though? The cost, the expense, the logistics, the engineering, why convert it to right-hand drive?
Because Australia doesn't have a right-hand drive 4x4 fully EV ute. It's the only right-hand drive EV ute in the world at the moment.
Well, what's the target market? Who orders these?
Fleet, critical infrastructure, government, tier 1 mines, anyone who's got scope 1, scope 2 emissions targets, ESG issues, yeah.
Okay, so some basic technical specs. What sort of battery size does this machine have?
So on the extended range, it's 131 kilowatt hours. Okay. On the standard range, it's 98 kilowatt hours.
What sort of range does that give you?
So on the 98 kilowatt hour, you get about 380 kilometres. Okay. And out of the 131 kilowatt hours, you get about 530.
Okay, all right, okay. One thing I want to know, though, like converting a car to right-hand drive, it looks easy. I mean, you just look at it, you open the door and think, oh, it's all factory made. Where do you start?
R&D, so getting a vehicle, 3D printers, scanners,
That's just it, because when you look at the console, you see...
molding, all that stuff.
That's the thing, because you can't buy this from Ford.
No.
Because it doesn't exist. And you can't speak on behalf of Ford, obviously, but it does make you wonder, why don't Ford do this? It's...
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think that the reason why is, even if they did, the same reason why Ford don't do a right-hand drive F150, that gets brought into the country, left-hand drive, and also remanufactured by a third party. The same as Ram and Chevy and companies like that.
Are you able to say how much the conversion or the final conversion costs, or is that...
I don't actually... That's a separate company of ours
Okay.
that does that, so I'm not privy to what that costs. But I guess as a whole, I know that there's a lot of other private companies who also do conversions on vehicles, and they range anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000, depending on how complex and how in-depth those conversions are.
Okay, in terms of battery chemistry, is it LFP, is it NMC, what is it?
It's an NMC battery.
Okay, that's how you get that much density out of it. Weight, how heavy is the vehicle?
So 2.8.
Oh, that's...
So 2,800 kilos.
I thought it was going to be like 3.5 tons. I thought that's interesting. That's lighter than the Cybertruck by 300 kilos. That's interesting. Okay, well, what about time?
The Zeekr 001 is 2,900 kilos. Go figure.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is, in any way, is it different to the right-hand drive or left-hand drive version in the States? Is there anything this has that doesn't, or vice versa?
Well, yes. In the States, it is CC1, and we converted to CC2 for Australian standards.
Oh, I see. Okay. So charging speed.
Correct.
What sort of charging speed does it have? I mean, it's exactly the same car.
Other than that, OEM, it's like for like. There's no difference other than the steering componentry has been, and some minor adjustments for ADR compliances, things like that, you know. But as a whole, the charging infrastructure has been changed to accommodate the 100, so it's factory 150 kilowatt DC fast charge, and then it's got the AC charging.
Okay, all right. So I can see it's a niche product, obviously, but what sort of turnaround time does it take to get one of these converted? I mean, you've done the R&D now, so is it just a matter of copy and paste?
So at the moment now, it's a matter of when they come into the factory, we can turn one of these out in a day.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you heard any feedback from Ford? What are Ford saying about this? Are they keen, or are they like, we're not interested? Or?
Well, I mean, look, again, I can't speak on behalf of Ford, but I mean, the fact that we're getting access to the vehicle says something within its own right, doesn't it?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'm going to keep my eyes open on this, because this could be a new cottage industry.
Yeah.
Another car to look at is this. This is Skyworth, and this is Jack from EV Automotive. What are they? I've never heard of Skyworth. Where are they from? What are they?
So Skyworth is a company in China, like most of the other OEMs. They make everything from trucks to buses to cars, and even battery systems. And they're also a sister company to Skyworth in China who make electronics.
All right, let's take a look at these two cars. The Skyworth. What's this one?
So this is the made by Skywell. It's a Skyworth BE11. It's similar to the size of a Tesla Model Y.
Okay.
It's a family.
Let's go have a look. We'll walk and talk. We're like professionals.
So it's a family car,
right?
And also a fleet car, and it's available homologated. And while we're sorting out who the dealers are, we're also getting the ANCAP crash rating sorted out.
All right. Now, the outside, I won't lie, the outside is not radical. It's a fairly sensible, in my opinion, fairly sensible looking car. The inside, however, is a different story.
Yeah.
That is something else.
Yeah. So we searched high and low for a good family car, and a car that's not so polarising. So you'll see our motto above is electric made easy.
Right.
So it's about ease of use, and it's not complicated, and it's approachable, and it's familiar. So it doesn't stand out like a rocket ship from the outside or something from science fiction. It's an easy, approachable vehicle for people to actually use day to day.
Oh, I like the fact it's got buttons. Okay, that's good. We've got buttons, we've got a nice big central display here. That's interesting. We've got an instrument cluster in front of us.
Yep. So it's got indicator stalks, buttons. You get in, you can go to drive. Your seat adjustments are where you expect them to be.
Oh, it's electronic.
You don't need to be fully connected, but you can be. Importantly, this car has had a number of generations back in its homeland. So this is the latest and greatest.
Okay.
It's had over 30 safety and ADAS systems added to it, and it's fully compliant and probably the safest vehicle at the moment.
All right, let's talk tech specs. So, first of all, battery size. What size batteries it got?
86 kilowatt hour.
Okay.
Does 489 kilometres.
Okay.
WLTP range.
Okay.
So they're real Ks. We had an early prototype last year, and we drove it for 8 months here in Australia. We put many thousands of kilometres on it,
yeah.
And those stated Ks are actually real.
Is this ventilated seats?
Yes,
it is too.
Ventilated.
Oh, that's nice.
So you're in the top spec with
okay.
sunroof, sun-blind, comes standard.
We come have a look around the back.
The bigger screen, the bigger wheels.
Oh yeah.
Interior lighting.
Well, I do like the that's not real wood, is it? These are killing the plastic rainforest. This wood. Yeah. All right, let's have a look in the boot space. Okay, 40-60 split on the back seats. Got a nice big mat. What's under here? Let's see how much.
Tire repair kit.
Okay.
Subwoofer lives under there.
Oh, you got a. Oh my God, it's got a subwoofer in there.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, that is impressive. That's one thing that Chinese cars do well, is they give the rear passengers so much room. This is 230 volts.
Yes, so you can 2.4 kilowatt out
2.4 kilowatts?
Car, yes, and also you've got vehicle to load.
So you can run your kettle in here, like high drain devices, heaters and stuff.
Well, for me, it'd be a coffee machine.
Well,
you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe an air fryer, potatoes.
And then outside you could run your cement mixer if you really wanted to.
That's fantastic, man.
So importantly, the next iteration of this car will also have an 800 volt battery system.
Okay.
So the charging will be faster. At the moment, the charging on the slow side.
Yeah. What is the charging?
So it's around 80 kilowatts.
Okay.
At the moment, DC. 11 kilowatts AC.
Okay.
And the newer one is coming with much faster charging rates.
There is another one though. This is the same car, but the more entry-level spec. Is that right?
Yeah. So what that one gets, the difference is no sunroof, slightly smaller screen, 19-inch wheels.
Oh, I see.
And it doesn't have the interior lighting treatment.
Intriguing. Skyworth. Keep your eyes on that one. Now we're doing something different. This is John from Jameel Motors, and we have a very unusual vehicle behind us. We've got two. What is this thing?
This is the Farizon SV. This is an 83 kilowatt hour battery vehicle capable of 376 kilometers of range on a single charge.
Can we start in the cockpit? Because we want to have a look inside. Check this out. First thing you'll notice when I open this side door here is that there is no B-pillar. There is no B-pillar. Completely open space. I believe that's 1.3 meters in width, so you can fit a pallet through there. But we'll get to that in a sec. First of all, the interior. Well, that's interesting.
So what we have here is a cabin that's packed full of tech and safety features. You have over 30 active safety features within, things such as adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, emergency braking, driver monitoring. We've got Apple CarPlay as standard, we've got a Google equivalent. Obviously digital cluster here, some additional buttons as well so you're not fully reliant on a touchscreen. Multi-control steering wheel. And various other features. You've got ample amounts of storage throughout, lots of pull-out cup holders. You've got a neat little cup holder down here at the bottom that just pops out, and it's designed for people that have those big water bottles and want to keep it chilled. You've got ample storage space within here. Typically we'll have these as a 3-seat bench seat version. At the moment we're launching these with 2. Most of these vehicles all come as standard with heated and ventilated seats, and additionally a heated steering wheel, which in the Australian climate is not always needed, but in some parts it does get chilly. So what we have here is 3.3 kilowatt power points, so we've got 3 of these, and these are good for small appliances, charging batteries, power tools, green equipment. Stick an air fryer in there, you can cook your lunch if you need to. It's got a nice open space which will comfortably accommodate a pallet, and you've also got a payload management system which actively tells you what your payload is in 5 kilogram increments.
Well, how does that work? I mean, it weighs the weight of the load you put in it.
If you can imagine a set of scales that's throughout the vehicle, that's monitoring your entire payload, that includes the driver.
Is that somehow some sensor built into the suspension system?
I believe so, and that's obviously preventing you from going overloaded and being illegal.
Okay, brilliant.
So yeah, obviously you've got your power points, you've got ample storage space, you've got 270 degree opening doors, which just gives you more clearance for getting in and out.
Okay, so the ultimate question now the van looks intriguing. I can see this working for a lot of tradespeople, maybe even campers, because of the fact that you can open the side out completely with no B-pillar. When or will we ever see this in New Zealand?
There's a good possibility that this vehicle will be landing in New Zealand waters very soon. Our official launch in Australia is the Melbourne Motor Show in April, and I believe other markets are closely pursuing that.
Okay, any idea on pricing?
Pricing, yes, it's going to be one of the most competitive commercial electric vehicles on the market, and price point, we're going to announce that formally at Melbourne Motor Show, but I can assure you it's competitive and packed full of tech.
And there you have it. That is the guts of this, the Farizon SV, the super van, It is a fairly well-equipped, supposedly very comfortable van for deliveries or maybe even motorhomes. Keep your eyes open. I think this is going to be a real crowd pleaser when it hits the New Zealand market, which I think it might. My name is Gavin Shoebridge. I'm a clean tech reviewer, I guess you could say a YouTuber for Ecotricity, which is New Zealand's only certified climate positive electricity provider. That's the plug. There we go. So I look after all things clean tech, mostly EV reviews. Well, New Zealand's charging network is good, but it's not a utopia. There are still areas where there's empty spots or areas where there are congestion. You might find yourself waiting 2, 3, 4 hours for a charge in some remote locations, and that sucks. But there are some things New Zealand's done really well. Okay, when you're planning a charging network, I'm going to teach you to suck eggs here. This is obvious stuff. First thing, obviously, location, 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 right? It's got to be in a place that has usage demand, right? You've got to have it on main arterial routes, preferably somewhere that's got a cafe or a toilet facility. This is, you know all this stuff, right? This is obvious stuff. The second thing you want to have is, well, it's not really an issue anymore. It's largely been solved by technology advancements, and that is you want it where it's got a reliable or reasonable electricity supply. Like until recently, if you wanted a 150 kilowatt charger, you needed a 150 kilowatt feed. But now with the advancements in battery technology, in New Zealand, we have a growing number of chargers that have built-in battery banks in them. So they work in the same way that a cistern on your toilet does. You know, it trickle charges all day long, maybe even just at 30 kilowatts. And then, boom, a car takes 200 kilowatts of chunk out of it, charging, trickle charges back up. And it just does this all day and all night. So you can put it in remote locations. For example, in between Sydney and Melbourne, there's a lot of locations there where that could work. Small towns where they don't have the grid capacity for 150 kilowatts, but those systems work. They exist and they work. The third thing is something I've been whinging about for 10 years. And that is, I can go into any petrol station anywhere in the world, whether it's in a first world modern city like Sydney or a war-torn hellhole like Perth, and I know that I can buy a tank full of cancer juice using credit card or cash. Electric vehicle charging must be that easy for mass adoption. It has to be. I've been whinging about this for 10 years, so I should be able to pay by credit card, right? You can do it with public transport, why not with charging? Basically, do whatever gas stations are doing and make it electric. For charging providers who are here today, slinking into your seats because I'm grilling you, it's 2025, sort it out. If I could afford to drop the mic, I would. As for New Zealand, our biggest charging provider is ChargeNet. And no, not to be too boastful, because it's still got some gaps in the network, but you can drive anywhere effectively. A car can go in New Zealand running on the public rapid charging network, which is obviously geographically a little different to Australia. It's like Tasmania light, a little bit stretched out. But the fact that you can do it now, and it's growing, is good. But like I said, we've now got EV adoption in New Zealand to a level where there are queues. The single 50 kilowatt charger that was amazing back in 2018, it's outdated. We need 4 or 5 of those things. So it's getting better, but we need action, and we need governmental action, and I'm sure you guys are in the same boat. I've spoken to a great deal of cafe owners, because obviously when you've got an EV and you're charging, rapid charging for 22 minutes, you go into a coffee, you go grab a coffee. I've spoken to them and asked them, has this made an impact on your business? Every single one says yes. Sales are skyrocketing since they put chargers in. It's a win-win-win. Next thing I want to talk about, well, there's a lot of buzz surrounding it. You can see by the word behind me. It's the Volkswagen ID.Buzz, much anticipated, and now pricing has been announced. Let's go and see what you get for your money. We start with this one. This is the ID.Buzz Cargo. You can probably guess from the name that it's designed for cargo. It's got a relatively reasonable amount of space in the back. Could potentially be used as a motorhome. But this is the one you're going to want to see. This is the 7-seater ID.Buzz, which, well, it looks fantastic. But are looks and nostalgia enough for this thing to be a sales success? As you can see, when they lift up the back, you've got your regular front 2 seats, you've got 3 seats in the middle, and then of course you've got these 2 rear seats as well, making this a reasonably spacious 7-seater. The ID.Buzz, well, it's obviously a good-looking car. It's got a lot of nostalgia around it. But if you're after a van that is just maybe a little bit more luxurious, I've got to take you back to Zeekr, because they've got a thing called the Zeekr Mix. It's going to blow your mind. I've never seen a van. It's not even a van. It's a slice of luxury from China. Come and check it out. The Zeekr Mix, as you can see, it's got 4 seats inside, which may not sound like a lot, but of course, all you got to do is press a button, and suddenly those seats, the front 2 spin around, the center console moves forward, and suddenly the entire thing turns into a luxury cabin. The soundproofing is amazing. The seats, every single one, is both heated and cooled. But one thing you notice, this is going to blow your mind. It blew my mind because I've never seen this before in a vehicle. There is no B pillar at all. No pillar right there. And not only that, this front door is on a hinge. This door is it's articulated on arms, whereas on the other side, it's asymmetrical. So this door is on arms as well, it's articulated, as is that door. So we've got hinge on one corner, articulated electronic systems on the other. It's a fantastically complicated system. As long as nothing goes wrong, I think it's fantastic. But the level of luxury you get, the fit and finish, the soundproofing, the padding, the upholstery, China's come a long way. And I think traditional car makers are very well aware of that by this point. But this is just one thing of many things on display. And unfortunately, I'm running out of time in this video. Everything Electric 2025, it's ongoing. It's going to go for another day. By the time you've seen this, the show will have finished. But the yearning for next year lives on. There's so much I haven't had the time to cover. The Leapmotor C10, obviously I've already reviewed that car. That's available on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description. Same goes for the MG stand. MG have got their Cybertruck on display. That I've also driven. I'll put a link to that in the description. There's more as well. There is a new Skoda model that's been unveiled. The new Tesla Model Y, you've seen it, that's been unveiled. I got to sit in that and talk to the Tesla dudes. Then, of course, we go further on. There's Deepal, there's BYD. Their sales are skyrocketing through the roof despite the fact that the market's not doing brilliantly. All in all, everything Electric 2025, there's so much more I haven't yet covered. The video is going to end up 2-3 hours long if I do that. So if you have got this far through the video, I'd like to say thank you for watching. And I hope I'll see you at Everything Electric 2026.